And let's bring in one of the greatest of all times, Hall of Famer, Mr. Scott Steiner. Sir, how are you? And thank you so much for the time this morning.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
This is an extended version of the Hall of Fame in pain.
Yeah, seriously, all these Hall of Famers. It's amazing.
Who'd you have singing that backup? Was that Bully Ray singing the backup? The screaming?
No, I'm not singing this morning, Scott.
Oh man, that was my favorite part when you're at the locker room singing all the stuff you used to shit.
Wait a second. I didn't know. So, Bully, you would sing in the locker room?
I don't remember singing in the locker room.
Oh, hell of a baritone.
You want to hear a funny Scott Steiner story? When Scott came back to the WWE, we had a rule in the locker room. No hot stuff. Nobody was allowed to wear hot stuff because, it got in your eyes, it burned, it gave you a rash. So none of the boys wore hot stuff. Well, Scott comes back, right? Not talking to nobody, doesn't say hello to nobody. He's fucking miserable, right? And all of a sudden, I smell this smell in the locker room, and I'm yelling out, "Who the hell is wearing hot stuff? Who's got hot stuff on?" And Funaki comes up to me, and he goes, Bubba-san, I think Scott Steiner wear hot stuff. And I went, oh, I guess it's okay then.
What do you mean I was miserable? I was always in a good mood.
Oh, I'm kidding. You are one of those guys who has a misconception. You are always in a good mood. You're always laughing and you're always smiling.
Except at TV.
Scotty and Salvatore Sincere.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Right.
I didn't mind the hot stuff, but you and Sal, y'all were the only two that really wore it. Everybody else was like allergic to it.
Yeah, Road Dogg didn't like it, so I didn't.
Oh,
when he wrestled Road Dogg, I didn't use it because he asked me not to wear it because it's something bothers his eyes, something with when Desert Storm or something. So gave him the heebie-jeebies, so I just didn't wear it.
It reminded him of Agent Orange.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, tonight with being the debut episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix, when we heard from our producer Paul yesterday that you were coming on, I was excited about. I'm like, but what's Scott promoting? And he told me that you and your brother Rick were on the very first episode of Monday Night Raw, which I didn't even remember. I guess you guys did Raw from the Manhattan Center, right?
Yeah, every Monday night. It was.
What are your memories from that first Monday Night Raw? And did you think it was going to take off and become what it has become?
Well, I don't think anybody could have predicted that it was going to be last, 30 some years now. I mean, it's crazy that, the phenomenon that has come. But no, we didn't know what we thought. It was going to be a pain in the ass. Because no matter where you were in the country, you always had to fly back to the Manhattan Center. So, but the live TV, I always like doing live TV because, added pressure, which I always liked. I hated doing TV stuff that was taped, especially when we used to do the interviews over in the center for Raw. I mean, at the building there. It was like we had, curtains there, and we're standing right next to each other, but we had to pretend like we're on location. So, some guys would mistake and look at the other guy, doing the interview like we're supposed to be over. So, but no, I like doing live. It was just hard to get back to New York every Monday. It just added to the travel, which was hard back then,
Right.
So.
And here we are, 32 years later, Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Your nephew, Bron Breakker, one of the big stars now in the WWE. And, we saw you at SummerSlam when he won the Intercontinental Championship. Like, how proud are you of his progression so quickly in the world of wrestling?
Yeah, he's picked it up real quick. And I can only assume that, man, when he was young, I'm talking like, maybe 6, 7. He was already watch me on Raw, on Nitro, and then he'd come over to my house, ride his bike over, and do the same interview I did that night.
Wow.
And he'd do that almost every week. And finally I had to tell him, like, listen, come up with your own shit or don't come over.
I was gonna say that I think that he's found a very good medium of you and his dad.
Right.
And do you have a problem with him uh, taking from you and your brother, or do you look at it as a compliment?
No, it's definitely a compliment. It's, he's blood. Of course, I would have no problem with that. He's, like I said, I've known him all my life. Love that kid. He's great. He's definitely highly, he knows what he's doing so far. And it's like amazing that he could do an interview the way he does that young. So that surprised me. And I think that's helped him a lot in his progression of where he's at wrestling right now. So
Scott, you and Rick, throughout the years, you didn't have the best relationship with the WWE. Your relationship with them now is considerably better. Do you think Bron had something to do with it? Bron becoming a star within the WWE, was he able to be that middle person to maybe bring the two sides together, the olive branch, so to speak?
oh no, I believe it had everything to do with it. Because I left with a lot of hard feelings, you know what I mean? But at some point you gotta let it be. You can't be angry the whole time. You can't hold a grudge. Plus the fact some people that you have a grudge against probably don't even know anyways. So and I didn't want to screw up anything for him. So I just buried the hatchet. And matter of fact, Hunter called me the other day, maybe like probably 3 weeks ago, and offered my boy an NIL deal. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so
That's awesome.
no, yeah, no, I buried the hatchet.
How old is he?
He's got one more year in college.
All right.
He's got he had some really good publicity with ESPN when they played football. He scored on a 75-yard touchdown, and then he had another touchdown, and then they showed the side-by-side comparisons when I was wrestling, and it was good for him, and it was the WWE saw that, and so one thing led to another.
So, Scott, for fans out there who might not know, what is an NIL deal that the WWE offered your son?
It's a name, image, and likeness. So that's the big controversy right now. NIL deals, some people like it. I know Nick Saban didn't like it, but I like it.
Yeah.
It keeps coaches accountable. Like if your coach's an asshole, or he tries to, not play or wherever, you go somewhere else. I definitely think the coach is a lot more accountable, and it takes away some of that unnecessary power that they had, that they could hold over somebody. And they make money, where other way would go to the NCAA, which I am totally against the NCAA. They're corrupt. Why does all the money go to the NCAA and not to the players themselves? I have serious contempt against the NCAA.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're put it bluntly, they're full of shit. And they take all the money. They were taking all the money. So
Yeah, $1 billion deals, and all you get is a $50,000 a year education, and a lot of times they don't even give the kids per diem. They can't take the girlfriend out to dinner or nothing. You and then they don't allow you to work.
right. Oh, that was the thing when the thing they had against Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. What he did was he bought somebody a hot dog or a recruiter lunch, and they were trying to get him come down hard on him. It's like it was bullshit.
Right, it's a hot dog. Relax.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So like you can't take a recruit out for dinner. So that's how bad it was before the NIL deals and stuff. So
Scott, you talked about your nephew Bron, obviously imitating you, and he was a kid. You tell him to do your own stuff. Talk to me about modern day, your relationship with your nephew. Does he come to you for advice, or is the wrestling industry so different these days from the business you were in and we were in that you just tell him, hey, do whatever they tell you to do?
No, I definitely tell them do what they tell you to do, because it's their show. They have that school down in Orlando for a reason. They want their guys to wrestle a certain way, which I'm totally behind, because I don't, the mud show, wrestling schools now, I don't think teach the right stuff. And usually, who are the teachers? Usually guys that haven't made it and are just scamming a lot of people.
Amen.
So I'm all for that. I'm glad it's happening. So no, I'll watch his matches. I'll tell him what I think. And but no, I tell him his main concern should be do what they want, because it's their show.
Scott, don't you wish that in your prime you would come off?
Whoa! I'm still in my prime.
Oh, okay, I forgot the Steiner math is different than everywhere else in the world. Don't you agree and wish that you would have had the performance center to come off of injuries and be able to go there and have medical care and the gym and everything, and not just go right back to the road when you wasn't ready to go back to the road?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the changes that are for the better in wrestling. It would have been so much easier, a lot better, and especially if you got hurt, it was just hard. When we went to WWF, now the WWE, they were just starting to bring in trainers, so that was something new when we were doing it. It was in '93, so no, everything's advanced, I think, for the better for the wrestlers. So
Scott, you're a Hall of Famer. You've been there, done that. So many highs in your career. When you look at wrestling now that we just entered 2025, one thing that you love about the current state in pro wrestling, and one thing that you wish would change currently in pro wrestling?
well, I think it's too much. It's a spot show. It's a bunch of spot monkeys. That was the term. It's like, man, nowadays you take a DDT and they pop up and go back, do a DDT right back to you, and like nothing really means nothing. It's almost like a performance.
Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, it's like a performance. It's like I wish that would backscale a little bit. Like, you got to make it make sense. You can't just, if somebody punches you in your face, I like somebody to like not do nothing in a real fight. You know what I'm saying? A punch is going to hurt. A poke in the eye is going to hurt in real life. That's the only thing I don't like. It doesn't make sense.
What do you like?
Well, I like a lot what the WWE is doing right now. I mean, everything's exciting. The storylines, and I think that's storyline is almost more important than the match a lot of the times. So that's the thing. The thing I don't like is when you just throw matches together with no background, no storyline. It's like that in every sport. Like, everybody likes to watch a football game where they know there's a rivalry. They want to see each other, beat each other. Same thing in boxing. I mean, one of the best of all time, Muhammad Ali, was the best at that. So it's creating animosity with Joe Frazier, the Thrill in the Middle, when he beat George Foreman. A lot of that stuff was driven by Muhammad Ali's ability to talk to people in the building. So
Right.
you know, and I met Muhammad Ali. He was great. We did that show in North Korea with him, and what a great guy, man. So
Scott, just going back in your career a little bit, whether it was tag team wrestling or whether it was your singles run, in being able to be around you for years, whether that was WWE or TNA, you were always very serious before you were getting ready for a match. I couldn't tell if you were excited to be in the ring with somebody or if you had a good chemistry. So flat out, who did you truly enjoy being in the ring with? Who brought the best out of Scott Steiner?
that's a broad statement because anybody that's over, I appreciated wrestling so it's so much easier. Because if you had a heel that the people hated, it made it so much easier. Same thing the other way. You know, when I was a heel, I mean, I love being a heel when, you know, Russell Sting, you know, Goldberg, those guys like that, you know, Kevin Nash when we went against him. Everybody that made the match so much better, so much easier. And, you know, the crowd participation was amazing. That was when it was the best. So, and I still think can be like that. So,
do you feel like your better singles matches happened in WCW or WWE?
oh no, I look back at my WWE career and it was I can't watch them because I went up there with a drop foot, you know, and I mean I don't even walk to the ring to sing because you see because I had that thing, I had a brace, had taped up, it was basically a cast and it helped me a little bit, but that's why I wrestled better when I was in TNA. I mean, it didn't totally fix the drop foot, but it stabilized because my foot would just flop, man. Is the weird. I mean, it's still like that. It doesn't flop, but I still, you know, I'll trip for last like what 20 some years now. I'll trip. I won't fall, but I'll stumble at least twice a day because my foot still does not come on up. So, yeah, I'm not. I wish I would have wouldn't have had the drop foot when I went up there. So, yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
it's you know, it's
How you doing now?
Huh?
I said, how are you doing now?
No, I mean it's still drop feel still dead. I can't feel anything, but it's not flopping like it used to. I have a little bit of control because I had that surgery and took a tendon from the side of my ankle to put it to the front, so it stabilized a little bit better. But you know, I still can't bring my foot back up.
I remember a couple of times before I went to the ring, you know, wrestling Scott would look over and go, "Hey, fat ass, don't blow up tonight." And I'd be like, "Hey, Gimpy, don't let that drop foot kill you out there."
Yeah.
Only the boys.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I miss the locker room more than anything, y'all.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. You know, that's what kept your sanity because riding together. I remember, you know, WWE, WWF, well, riding with Macho Man, Randy Savage, you know, and yeah, he was a great guy. I loved traveling with him, and that really makes it okay. You know, that's what you miss, or that's what I miss is the camaraderie. And but you know, because you guys know travel is a bitch, man. Especially
so wait, Scott, your car, was it you, your brother Rick, and Macho Man?
Macho Man, Lex Luger, and sometimes Owen Hart. So, well, that story told at the Hall of Fame about Macho Man, we were traveling up to New York. We bet on everything. Yeah, everything was a challenge. Cards, we play cards all the time. And the thing about the cows, you know, that was a true story. It was like, no, he was a great guy, man. And yeah, I was beating him cards one night so bad that we pulled over, got something to eat. So then he wanted to race me. So I raced him, I beat him going forward. Then he wanted to race me backwards. Didn't be backwards. We were doing karaoke sideways in the parking lot, like at 2:00 in the morning. And there's people were at the window watching him because of Macho Man was bigger in life. They're watching these two guys race in this parking lot. So no, he was a lot of great memories with Macho Man.
You know, Scott, your career, you know, starting like NWA, WCW, WWF, TNA, is there like a favorite moment for you that stands above everything else?
I think anybody will say anytime you win a belt, win a world championship, world tag team champ, those times stick out. Uh, yeah, that's probably that, anytime you win a title, because a lot of matches, they kind of run together. I mean, before I came on the show, I was watching the first Monday Night Raws, and like it was good to look back, but then it was kind of bad because a lot of those people are gone.
Yeah.
Macho Man was on commentary, Yokozuna was on the show. I mean, Yokozuna was a great guy, man. He was one of the best people. And, it's unfortunate that, a lot of those people are gone.
I tell Dave all the time, bro, that when I came in 95, I was driving Rodney because he was having trouble getting to the towns on time and everything. And they were like, hey, I don't care what time it is in the night, you drive him, he get out the main event, then you get in the car and drive. And I did. And I never paid for my hotel rooms. I never paid for gas. All I did was what he told me.
Right.
Just do what you told and you don't worry about nothing. And he was the best. He was the absolute best.
Right. A lot of people don't realize exactly how big he was, because Bam Bam Bigelow was a big guy, and Yokozuna wanted to get a jacket from Lex's gym. They had the name on it, so he asked Lex for a jacket. So Lex brought Yoko a gym jacket. Yoko went to put on, he couldn't put it on. It was too small. So Bam said, "I'll take it." Bam put it on. He was like swimming in it. It was he couldn't. That's how big he was. That was so much bigger than Bam Bam. He was just huge, man. And he was so athletic for as big as he was.
You ever see him play
Scott.
basketball?
What's that?
Did you ever see him play basketball?
No, never did.
Holy hell. Look,
Oh, really?
handle the ball with both hands, shoot it, spin move, layup. I mean, it was just like, damn.
Right.
It just wasn't fair for a human that size to be able to move like he did.
Right.
Scott, I want to thank you so much for coming on with us this morning. This was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for the time.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.